1992 was the last time a woman was in an F1 seat, but that ended before it even began. That makes us ask the question, if women are allowed in F1 today, why has it been 30 years since the last female F1 driver? Let's get the obvious answer out the way first: a lack of opportunities. Since F1's birth in 1950, there has been 786 drivers in Formula 1. But how many of those have been women? The answer? 5. Just 5. That's only 0.6% of all F1 drivers have been female. But don't worry, that is about to change very soon, but we'll find out how later. For now, how good were they? 1. Maria Teresa de Filippis, the first ever, the pioneer. She was actually a really good driver, but since the only year she raced was in 1958, and things were a little different then. Sexism was unapologetically rampant in those days.
What do you mean, treat her right? She's a woman, isn't she?
So even though she only raced in 3 races, with her top finish being in 10th, she was flat out denied entry to the French Grand Prix in 1958 because she was a woman, with the race director saying, and quote, "The only helmet a woman should wear is the one at the hairdressers." Yikes. 2. Lela Lombardi.
Formula 1 è una cosa per la ragazza.
Visto che corro, giudicate voi.
Who was the only female to score points in F1. The 1975 Spanish Grand Prix was cut short due to a car flying over the barriers, taking the lives of 4 spectators. So they threw half a point at her. Nice. 3. Davina Gallica, the only British female F1 driver and also the captain of the British Olympic skiing team. That's actually really cool. 4. Desiree Wilson, who sadly only raced in a single F1 race. And number 5, Giovanna Amati, the last female to race in F1 to date, and she had her 3 races back in 1992.
Qualifying was an interesting affair, with some novices like the Italian lady Giovanna Amati and her Brabham struggling for most of the time.
3 races, 3 failures, and she was quickly replaced by a small, up-and-coming hopeful, Damon Hill. I wonder if anything ever became of that guy.
Damon Hill is the world champion of 1996. What about that?
It's just so fantastic.
And that's it. The closest we've come since then was Susie Wolff back in 2014 and 2015, driving 3 practice sessions with Williams, and if that name looks familiar, it's because she's currently the managing director of the F1 Academy, which we'll get to later on, so remember her. But also, she's this guy's wife.
Controversy! No, Mike, that was so not right!
Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff. Number 2. Physical demands. We've all seen the videos of fighter pilots' faces getting ripped apart from G-forces. 1G in G-force terms is equal to the force of gravity.
In a 6G pull, every part of your body feels 6 times heavier.
A normal person can withstand around 4Gs before they start to black out. But in F1, drivers can pull up to 6Gs on the track, with Max Verstappen hitting an insane 67 Gs in this crash with Lewis Hamilton. Hence the sheer girth of the drivers' necks. It's no secret F1 is extremely physically demanding.
A 19-year-old woman is not going to start off as strong as a 19-year-old man. That's just the way it is.
There's already a barrier to entry from the genetics alone. Does that mean it's impossible for women to enter into F1 today? Absolutely not. There are women dominating other extreme sports, so physical demands aside, it can be done. So where are they? Well, there are only 20 seats in F1, and this is for the absolute top of the top in the world of motorsports, and historically, motorsports have been a male-dominated sport. But in more recent times, this has begun to change, and the answers you crave may lie in these. Number 3. Women's representation sucked. Women's sports have been skyrocketing over the last few years, with massive turnouts for women's NBA, football or soccer, so why not in F1? How do we fix that? Is there a solution? Insert both the W Series and the F1 Academy. It's 2018 and a plan was hatched. A division for women only operating at a zero-cost basis for drivers, covering all expenses related to travel, accommodation and race costs to promote women in motorsport. Costs are a giant part of why F1 is so exclusive and also so divisive. But hold on, we'll get there. 2019, the inaugural season, racing in modified F3 cars. 6 races with a $500,000 prize pool. The victor, Jamie Chadwick.
Well done to Jamie Chadwick as the first W Series champion.
But then, COVID.
Coronavirus!
After 2 years off, W Series returned, and in 2022, Jamie Chadwick won it again with complete dominance. But who is Jamie Chadwick? Is she the answer to women's F1 woes? No. Here's why. A As much as she is levels ahead of the other W Series competitors, she had had a stint in F3 back in the day, which didn't exactly go according to plan. But that was years ago. Considering her background in GT Series, aka non-one-seater cars, she's come a long way. There's a definite chance we could see her in F3 again, but F1 is a different beast. You need talent that have rose up through the karting scene and more specialised in single-seaters, or have a parent with a load of money. And that segues us perfectly into the Formula One Academy. Well, actually, let's close that chapter by looking into what ended up happening to the W Series. A sad day for motorsport, as put by Pippa Mann, a respectable woman racer, and honestly, she brings up a good point. Regardless of the support from the likes of F1 legend David Coulthard, as much as they said it would bridge the gap between the genders in motorsport, it ended up doing the opposite. Think about it. These cars, the Tatus T318, weren't even of F3 standards at the time. So yes, as much as it could help women get into better quality cars for a boatload cheaper, the whole series missed the point. By the end of the W Series, the prize pool was up to $1.5 million. Instead of all this money being used to fund a female-only series, those millions should be used towards getting women up to the pace of men who has had more funding from day one. The whole W Series in turn segregated women even further. In June 2023, the W Series went into administration, and that was that. Book closed. So what was the next steps? Bring back in Susie Wolff. The idea: take the 5 best junior teams and the 15 best young female drivers and give them space to be nurtured into being the best drivers they can be. How? By giving them time on the track against their male counterparts to be able to not only compete, but to win. Take Carlin, one of the biggest and best junior teams in the world, whose goal is to
Forming the ladder. Basically, we're taking drivers from karting to the door of Formula One.
If there was going to be a team to bring up the best females, this team is the best to do it. So who are the drivers, and will they be good enough for F1? Let's take Abby Pulling and Megan Gilks. Abby Pulling is an
Alpine Academy driver racing with Road and Carlin this year in the F1 Academy.
And Megan Gilks.
I'm a driver for Road and Carlin in the F1 Academy.
She's also a trackside support engineer at Aston Martin Formula One. They know the challenges facing them, but they're determined to overcome them. The reality is, just like anything in life, sometimes things just don't work out from bad timing,
Talent, budget, and luck. Drivers are just scraping by.
I've definitely spent probably more time finding money than actually driving the car.
Megan Gilks, for example, understands the risks that she's taking.
I decided that I needed a bit of a backup plan, and that was engineering.
So, will we see any of these women in F1? Just like Jamie Chadwick, sadly, probably not. But with academies like this now put in place, it can be a place where women on the come-up can flourish, especially nowadays. With the rise of F1 through both Drive to Survive becoming a massive Netflix hit, and Formula One themselves pioneering how well a sport can handle their F1 presence through their social medias, this has brought in a massive female audience. Even with all that, there's still an elephant in the room. One that's been plaguing F1 for a long time, making the barrier to entry even more difficult.
I'll make it rain.
Number 4. Financial obstacles. It's no secret that F1 is the ultimate money sport. From top drivers making $50 million plus in a season, and the cars becoming more and more crammed with sponsors, money makes this sport move. We'll make a video breaking down the logistics of F1 another day, so subscribe and we'll keep you in the loop. Out of every sport out there, motorsport is the most expensive sport to get into. Why? How much, roughly, will all of that cost? This is Bob. Bob likes cars and wants to be like his favourite F1 driver. Where does he start? First, he joins his local karting leagues.
Just an incident.
Develops his skills competing local, then national, then international. If all goes well after years of shoveling money, he upgrades to junior single-seaters. Then he goes national, progressing further to F3, then F2, and eventually F1. Some drivers get the whole way to F2 and may even win that. But because F1 can be political at times, they may never get a seat, while others can buy their way in.
Big crash on board with Lance Stroll.
But let's ignore those anomalies. A lot of drivers need to also bring their own money to the team to get noticed.
But obviously with F1 Academy, we are giving the driver huge financial aid to make sure that the drivers are getting enough track time and are getting all the possibilities to try and progress in the sport.
We can break this down more in a future video, but that leads us into number 5. cultural and societal barriers. It's the sad reality, but in such a male-dominated sport, and since people have to invest millions of dollars in sponsoring a driver, females have been forced into a backseat position. But it's all changing. Division lines are fading, and the talent of the up-and-coming female drivers can be properly adjudicated. This is why the F1 Academy is so important. So, let's ask the question, will there be a female in Formula One again? With the F1 Academy, women's visibility, increase in popularity with women, and increased funding to women,
but there is talent out there, and nurtured in the right way, we will see a woman in Formula One.
In 5-10 years' time, we are going to see that happen. There's no reason why it shouldn't. It absolutely has to, because we're missing out on a whole pool of talent that's just so far been neglected.
Where they'll be from, we have no idea. But one thing is for sure, they should click on the videos they see on the screen to watch what's truly behind the scenes and the secrets of F1.